welcome everybody. Today I have other guest on. Is that Dre Booker? He's you turned pro. It wasn't too long ago, was it? How long ago was it you got your pro card?
It's October, so I got my pro card the 4th of July weekend. So it's been 3 months, a little over 3 months.
Oh, that's right. So and you turned pro in physique, but now you're getting ready to do in the classic physique, right?
Yeah. Because I trained when I did. It's crazy, man. When I did the show, men's physique was just something that me and my coach was like, well, look, you got the V taper, you got the wide back, you got the shoulders. So you're gonna do both, but we're gonna train for classic. We want to turn pro in classic. So we took the stage for classic. I got first call outs, ended up getting fourth place. Then we did physique. I took the stage for physique. I got center box, but I ended up taking second. But I still turned. First two gets their pro card. First and second gets their pro card. But so yeah. So I turned pro in men's physique.
So what's the goal now? Are you still, when you do doing the pro shows, you're gonna shoot for classic? You're gonna get a little bigger and shoot for that now?
I'm gonna shoot for classic, yeah. Because they give you more leniency to be heavier. So for my height, the cutoff is 215. In the NPC, the cutoff is 205. So I got a 10-pound difference. I can actually come in a lot heavier than I came in. Because like I told you, I came in at 195, man. Like I was peeled, dude. Like I got my BMI before I took my flight, and I was like 3.5% body fat.
How much did the flight affect that? Like when you flew over there, you didn't have to do anything to dry back out, or were you good?
No, well, see, I don't. I don't tend to gain water on flights. It's crazy. I don't tend to put on water. So I was good. So what I did when I landed was I just slept. I slept and I slept for like 10 hours, man. I went and weighed in. I weighed in at 195. So and then after that, just the carb up and the water depletion and all that. But yeah, I mean, we were confident in the conditioning. I've always been confident in my conditioning because conditioning literally is just, suffering. That's it. Like everybody that's ever been peeled will tell you it's just a lot of suffering. That's it.
Dude, you were fucking like thin skin. I saw some pictures you had posted and all the lines, everything was there. I was looking through it yesterday. I was like, damn, dude, this guy got to the bone shredded. And you don't see that a lot these days.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Like you don't. I mean, even on the pro level, I look at some of the pro guys and I'm like, man, they could come in a lot more, crispier than they are. But but I mean, it's suffering, man. It's hard for most people. You have to literally get in a mind frame, like that type of shit. You gotta literally just put your mind to a point of where, okay, this shit's gonna be hard, but it's temporary and there's a goal at hand. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people just aren't able to do that, and it's very uncomfortable, man. Like it's very uncomfortable. Like when I was training for Universe, I was training. I live in North Louisiana, East Texas area. So like I was literally training in the heat, dude. Like I was literally training in 90% humidity, 100 degrees, every day just to get to that point. And it paid off. I would tell my friend all the time, like, I know I have to do this because other people aren't doing this. If I can do what other people aren't doing and aren't willing to do, then I'm going to look better than them once showtime comes. And that's the whole.
That is the one thing right there that you just said that a lot of people forget when the shit gets hard. I remember one of the times I got in the best condition ever. I actually had strided glutes for a short frame of time. There's a point where you hit where your body is not designed to get that low in body fat. So even mentally, it will start fucking with you. It will start telling you stuff. You'll start seeing shit and start thinking things, and you will contemplate any reason to back off. But you have to remind yourself of what you said is there's other people that can't do this. I have to, and that's what separates who's going to win and who doesn't. If you talk to a lot of 90s bodybuilders, they say the same shit. They talk about the suffering, falling asleep, doing cardio, doing shit nobody can do. And that determines who the winner is going to be. But at that breaking point, like when you start getting in single digits of body fat, you're trying to go lower, like your mind will start fighting you and trying to get you to back off at whatever cost. And it takes a strong person to fight through that shit.
Dude, your body goes in survival mode, man. Like your body is literally in survival mode because like you said, you're not meant to be that low in body fat. You're not meant to be that lean. It's very uncomfortable. Like I have insomnia anyway. So there was times when I was probably 3-4 weeks out when I was really getting low to where like I'm tired as hell. Like I'm talking about I'm tired as shit, but I can't go to sleep because I got insomnia. So it's like just laying there in fucking misery. Like, oh my God, man. Like, what's going on? Like, it was rough, man. It was rough. But like you said, when you get to that point, you have to remind yourself of the goal. Like, there is a goal at hand, and if you can look better, and if you can train harder, push your body harder, for a fact, like, you're going to look better than the guys on stage. That's going to be the difference between 5th place and 1st place. You know what I'm saying? Because at that level, dude, everybody's huge. Everybody's big. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just got to separate yourself by coming in as peeled and as conditioned as possible.
Yeah. It's when somebody attempts to go through that part, like as a trainer, you want to limit the amount of time they spend going through the suffering part, but you remind, like, there is going to be a part where you're not going to want to do this. Like, that's just how it is. Oh, yeah. And when people get to that point, I think that's when they start understanding that's why only a very small percentage of people can keep doing this. Yes.
And that's, I talk to a lot of guys that want to compete, man. And they'll start prep. I know guys, dude, that have been in prep 6, 7, 8, 9 times, man. And they'll start the process. And once it gets to that part where, all right, it's time to suffer, it's time to get uncomfortable, they're like, oh shit, they make an excuse as to why they can't do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got work, or I got the kids, or, but in retrospect, me, I've done 8 shows, you know what I'm saying? So, like, I've done it enough to where I'm like, yeah, motherfucker, I know why you pulling out. You uncomfortable. You don't expect this. Like, people that's outside the bodybuilding world, they really look at us like just a bunch of meatheads that lift weights and eat a lot. Yeah. But when you're in prep, when you're in that mode to get shredded and get ripped for that show, man, that's not even really an essential part of it. It's really not, Yeah.
The mental game is really big in the sport. And I think a lot of people don't realize that until they try to do it. It's when was the first time you competed?
Okay, so it's all right. My bodybuilding journey is weird, man. So the first time I actually stepped on stage was the day after my high school graduation. I was 17 years old. It was 10 years ago. I was 17 years old, and I got my ass kicked, man. Like, literally handed to me in the teenage division. I did a teenage division. I got my ass handed to me. I've always been, like, infatuated with bodybuilding. And so there was a bodybuilding show like 20 miles away from me. And I was like, well, shit, let me jump in and do it. Obviously, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was just lifting weights. I was like, well, let me do it. So I got there, and most of the guys there actually knew somewhat of what they were doing. And I took last place. So after that, I took some time off. I got to college, and there was another show, in the town I was in college in 2016. And I was like, oh shit, another bodybuilder show. Let me hop in and see how I can do. And again, I got my ass kicked. So after that, I started to research it more and just, kind of educate myself on it. I was like, oh shit, this is not what I really thought it was. These guys are, it's a science to this. It's literally a science. So I coached myself in the Louisiana State show in 2018. I coached myself. I took 3rd place, right? I took 3rd place in classic physique. And because at the time, classic, I think that was like the first year they bought in classic. And so, I was like, okay, this is a cool division, because I'm not a mass monster. I got the small waist. I fit the description of the classic guys. So I did that. I took 3rd. Then I got a coach, Beast Factory, Bobby Farley out of Atlanta. Great guy. He coached me the next show I did, the Southern Muscle in 2018. I took overall in classic physique. So I was like, okay, cool. We going places now. Okay, cool. So I know I can win this shit. I know I can do it. So after that, I did the Orlando Europa. I won both of my classes and placed 2nd in the overall, because I did classic physique and I did physique, and I won both my classes, but I got 2nd in the overall of both of them. After that, I did a few national shows. I got my ass kicked at Junior USA's in 2019. Took last place in classic. After that, we did Pittsburgh. I got 2nd call outs in Pittsburgh. Then we did then COVID hit after that. After COVID came, I did nationals last year. I did the Orlando Nationals last year. Took second call outs again. Made some changes, changed coaches. And this year, we did 2 shows this year. Actually, the show I did this year as my national qualifier was the show that 10 years ago, I got my ass kicked in after the day after my high school graduation. And I won 2 overalls this year in that show.
Damn.
Yeah. So 10 years later, I came back and dominated the fucking show that I got my ass kicked in just on stage as a teenager. Literally 10 years later. And so after that, we did Universe, and I got the pro card at Universe.
Yeah. What you say you got beat the first couple of times? What made you kept wanting to go back?
I just love the sport, man. Like, I've always been infatuated with bodybuilding. I've always just wanted to be, it started out with me just wanting to be a big motherfucker. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right. But as I got more into it, started reading magazines. Like I used to subscribe to Flex magazine. I still have a cutout of Jay Cutler that I cut out when I was like 14, 15 years old when I first started getting into it. Like, I was like, oh man, because he was the man at that time. He was like at the top. And so I started. I made a cutout of him. I put it over my bed, and I used to look at it all the time. It's like motivation. So I started training, man. It was something that I always wanted to do. And I mean, where I'm from, man, it's like not much to do. So you either find a hobby, something you love, something you're passionate about, or you get in trouble. So you get in trouble, some stupid shit happens, you go to jail or whatever. But so that was my thing, man. Bodybuilding's always been my thing. Like, weightlifting always been my thing. And it takes what I found about weight training, and as I've gotten older, being 28 and just conditioning your body, weight training, bodybuilding, it's like, most people aren't capable of doing this shit, seriously, because it takes a level of discipline. It takes a high level of discipline. It takes a high level of focus, to literally take your body and mold it into this image that you feel you want to mold it into. A lot of people aren't able to do that. There's a lot of factors in society that keep people from doing that. Like, the clubs, alcohol, drugs, for a lot of men, women, it's the thing that, that really keep guys from kind of, really chasing their physique or the goal that they have at hand. So, yeah, man, like it's just something I always want to do. I always want to be a pro bodybuilder. Now, I never thought I'd be it this quick. At 28, I never thought I turned pro at 27. So turn pro at 27, like I never thought I would do it this quickly. But I mean, I put in the work, man. Like I put in the work.
Yeah. So a lot of people don't realize that bar and women and stuff, that's always going to be there. You got a short time to really get much out of your youth. Like, all that shit's always going to be there. Just like I tell people that start dieting and they think they're never, I was like, dude, McDonald's is not going out of business. You'll be able to eat that shit once you get to a point to where you're happy and you want to maintain. Right. Yeah.
And that's what I tell my clients, man. Like, I do lifestyle, coaching. And I tell all my clients this, the biggest problem I find with people is not the workouts. Like, people are willing to actually go in the gym and do the work, but it's the food. It's the discipline of the food and alcohol,
Yeah.
And I tell people it's like, you're literally letting food and alcohol kick your ass. Like, you have to understand, you're doing all this work. You're doing all this work throughout the week from Monday, because a lot of my clients train either from Monday through Friday or Monday through Saturday. Like, you're putting all this work in throughout the week. And once the weekend hits, you're letting this shit kick your ass, and then when Monday morning comes, you're literally starting over, man. People don't understand how detrimental just alcohol and bad eating is to your physical progress.
Yeah, it's at the time you think it'll be great, but then you evaluate yourself before and after, and you're in the same spot. You didn't go forward any. So but people are always about when you're young, you don't think about this shit. But me being a heavy drinker growing up and looking back, because I haven't drank since it'll be 10 years next month since I've had anything, and I started realizing, it's like, dude, if I had gotten this message 10 years prior, imagine how much further I'd be along now, because just that one thing, like, cascaded into eating and stuff, and held me back for a long time to where I was in the same spot every Monday morning I woke up. Yeah. People don't realize it's not. When you look back, you're like, that's not worth it. I mean, got a couple good stories, but shit, these stories could have happened after I got my shit done.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, like, in me, as far as drinking with me, like, I've literally never taken a sip of alcohol in my life. Like, never. Yeah. I mean, my family has alcoholism that runs through. Like, my father's a fucking drunk. So
yeah, my mom's side is.
Yeah, like living amongst that from 1 to 18, like living with a fucking bumbling drunk all my life, as a child, as I grew up, I was like, I don't want to touch this shit because I see the trauma that it would cause me, living amongst that shit as a kid. So like now that I'm older, I'm like, I don't want to touch this shit, man. Like seriously, because me personally, I have an addictive personality. Like I've always recognized that I have an addictive personality. So if I do something and I like it, I'm gonna want to do it a lot. You know what I'm saying?
No, I get you.
Right. So I take that with weightlifting and bodybuilding. It's like it's become my addictive. It's become my addiction. And it's something that, I mean, and even now, like it's something I eat off of. I mean, I don't have a 9 to 5. That's what I do. I'm an online coach, lifestyle coach, personal trainer. Like that's what I do. Like thank God, through the grace of God, I've been able to take my passion and actually eat off of it. So that's
a blessing, dude. When you can do that, it's a blessing because a lot of people can't turn what they like into income. They have to do it on their off time, but they can't find a way to make it work.
Right. Exactly, man. So, I thank God for it every day. This sport has taken me, the sport and the passion has taken me, dude, across the country, man, places I never thought I'd be. Like, I mean, I'm looking back, we had Universe in Charleston, where I won my pro card. That is literally the same venue is where I got my ass handed to me 2 years prior at my first national show. Yeah. So like everything just comes full circle. And I always like to do that. I always like to compare because it just shows you how far you've come. If you can look back 2 years prior and like, oh man, I got my ass bust. And then 2 years later, you come and, you win in this same venue, something that you've been trying to get for all these years. I mean, that's an accomplishment, man. I just like to, look at things in that perspective. Yeah.
It's, there's doing this sport particularly, or life in general. There's a lot of things in this sport you can take into life. But one of them is when you're going towards something you want, there's going to be multiple chances for you to bail. It'll be, for once, it'll be being tired. For once, it'll be the diet. For once, it'll be, you're like I usually use example, your car breaks down, so you don't go to the gym. There's going to be instances all the time that's going to test you. And that's with any goal in life. Like you could be on the way of starting a corporation and you could hook up with the wrong girl and she could ruin your career just because you dumped her. I mean, there could be all kinds of stuff. So there has to be a little bit of selfishness, and it's not a bad thing. Like me and Dibs, like we talked about on the other show, it's not a bad thing if it means there's going to be success and bringing other people with you, the people that support you and stuff. It's different.
Yes.
So you do have to, and this is one of my weaknesses, is you have to worry about yourself sometimes. And because if you worry about everybody else too much, you're going to worry about the wrong person. They're going to drag you down.
Yep.
So the point is there's tons of times, no matter if it's bodybuilding, life, whatever, you're going to be tested, and and usually that's when, if you can make it through that, you're going to level up a little bit. So it's going to happen. When you went to, what was the biggest difference you noticed when you went from doing this yourself to getting a coach?
When I went from coaching myself to being coached?
Yeah, when you got beat and then you try to do it yourself a little bit, and then you got a coach to help you. What was the biggest difference that you saw?
Just the educational part of it. Like, I mean, I tell people this all the time. Like, I don't give a damn what level you're on. You can be a novice. You can be national level NPC. You can be high level IFBB. Like, you need a coach. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I mean, for me, it was more of just having somebody there, just as a second eye. As a professional eye, somebody there to tell me, okay, this is what we need to improve on. Okay, this is what we need to do. Okay, let's go this route. Let's change this up. You need that. I mean, it helps you in a lot of ways, because when you're coaching yourself, like you're not going to be really willing to critique yourself. You're just not going to be really that willing to critique yourself and say, okay, I need to improve this. I need to improve that. But having somebody else there that has done it and that has multiple clients that are doing it, the same thing you're doing, they're going to be, and you're paying them, they're going to be honest with you. And it just helps to have that second opinion, that second professional opinion to look out for you.
I've trained other trainers before for cons, honestly, and I don't want to make any non-trainer person mad by saying this, but training other trainers those are usually the clients I really love because they know how it goes and they're going to listen. But One thing I've noticed is that when some trainers try to do their own prep, It's not everybody. But when I first started trying to do my own prep, I noticed a few things. Either we second guess everything, we try to do new stuff when we need to do what works. Because for me, I'm always trying to learn. So when I prep, I always try to do different stuff to learn. There's sometimes I'll be like, okay, stop fucking around and do what you know works so you can get done. And then we get this thing that we're invincible because we're a trainer. We know all this. We can push harder. We can do this, and sometimes we overdo it. Those are the things I know. So most of the time, there's a couple of other trainers I've trained before. One came very close to turning pro. So we talk about this, and honestly, one of them, he would hire me just because he's like, I train so many people, I don't want to worry about my own shit. And so he would. Yeah. But the things I've noticed there are downsides to trying to do your own prep, especially when the diet starts messing with you. You want to, and I still check myself. I'm like, I know it's working, but I keep wanting to do this and go harder and harder. Sometimes I have to call a friend up, be like, hey, here's what I'm doing. What do you think? And they'll be like, you need to chill out and just keep doing what you're doing. It's always good to have somebody you can trust at least to talk to that can bounce ideas off of. I have maybe 2 people I can talk to that I know won't bullshit. They'll say you have no chance, or they'll say you need to change this or whatever. Yeah. But trying to do everything yourself is hard to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that I feel like that's another problem with people that want to be self-coached is that they got thin skin. Like they can't take somebody else telling them, hey man, look, I don't think you're ready for this shit. Take a few more months, get ready, dial in a little more. Like a lot of people, especially these days, man, with this whole cancel culture shit, a lot of people just don't like being critiqued. Yeah. Don't. It's crazy. Like, I mean, I've had, truth be told, man, I got friends, and I'm not gonna call their names. I love, these guys to death. They do bodybuilding, and they'll send me their pictures, and they have coaches, right? And they'll send me their pictures, and they're like, okay, I need an opinion, But me personally, this is just my thing. If you have a coach, I don't like giving my opinion on your physique.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Right, because I feel like that's your coach's job. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like if you're paying this man. Why are you paying this man or this woman? And if you're gonna send your shit to me and listen to me over him or her, but so I mean, I've had a couple guys, they send me their critique, and I'm telling them, I'm like, hey man, like you're not the biggest thing for most guys in bodybuilding is conditioning. That's the biggest thing, because like I said, it takes a certain level of suffering. It takes a certain level of discipline, and a lot of guys like to bullshit their way, and they'll say, oh well, I should be okay if I drop the water or this. Like, nah, man, like you gotta fucking dial in and you gotta put your head down and you gotta work harder, motherfucker. You're not working hard. I know you're not. So it's like, you can't, that's the thing about bodybuilding, man. Like you can't bullshit it. Like you just can't. Like me personally, like I've been through the process multiple times of trying to dial in for a show, and I can literally look at you and tell, okay, you ain't doing shit. You're not working hard. So it's like, so guys do that and they'll take offense, but like I said, if you're in a sport that literally bases your placing off of critique, because that's what judges do. Like once you get on those lights, the judges are there to judge you and critique you. And for a lot of people that's in this sport, they really can't take critiquing. I don't understand that shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you got to have a little thick skin, man, and you're not gonna grow if you don't know what's wrong, and you're not gonna know what's wrong if you don't let people critique you. I mean, some of your closest friends should be able to critique, not be afraid to tell you what they think and critique you. I mean, they should tell you. Right. A lot of people, they're afraid, like you said, they're afraid to say stuff because they're afraid people are going to come after them, or someone's going to get butthurt, and it hurts. It hurts. It makes things harder to do. I'm not like that. I'll be honest with people. So, but I mean, not everybody's like that.
I have friends, man, that'll literally, before they say, a couple guys in this sport, but before they say, oh man, my conditioning was off, they'll literally blame every fucking thing. And I'm like, dude, it's literally a basis of how much are you willing to suffer? That's it. Like it's not your coach. It's not the water. It's not the carb up. It's not that. Like, It's literally, you have to decide in your mind, I'm going to do this. I'm going to put myself through this for a temporary time to get this look that I want. That's it.
Yeah. That's, I think that you see all these methods for diets and stuff come out and all these numbers and formulas, and I use some of them, but there is a point where you kind of have to toss those rules out the window and push past that line where the suffering comes in, where it could be like, okay, well, you're not supposed to go under this many calories and stuff. At the same time, you're like, okay, well, we got to do something that not a lot of people can do or what hasn't been done. So we're going to have to do stuff that you normally don't do. It's only for a short period of time, but there does come a time frame, and how long it is depends on how off you were when you started. Depends on a lot of things, but you do have to break some of the rules to get to that point. And another thing with people can say or blame whatever they want, but everything shows up on stage that night. Everything you did, every mistake you made, it all shows up when you go on stage.
And like, I'm real, and it's crazy. Like, social media has done a lot for the sport. I think for the most part, social media has literally propelled the sport to heights it's never been before. But one thing social media does with people is that it gives them this fake illusion, with the filters and shit. Like, I know people, man, that, when they're in their prep or whatever, dude, they're on social media every day posting check-ins, and I'm like, okay, first of all, send this shit to your coach.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't, why does it matter to you so much? And you're filtering the hell out the photos. The photos are filtered. So why does it matter to you so much what your followers have to say about your physique? Me personally, like, when I'm in prep for a show, I don't even tell people, unless it's my coach or my close friends, I don't even tell people what show I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't tell people I'm in prep. I'm just grinding, man, because like, I know the only time that really matters as a bodybuilder, as a high level bodybuilder, is the moment you step on that damn stage. That's what matters. The only opinions that matter at that point is the people that sit down below that stage that's going to be judging you and critiquing you. That's it. If you can convince them that, hey man, this guy's the real fucking deal. If you can convince them of that, then you're good.
Yeah, the internet. You have global expansion with the internet. That doesn't matter if you're 100% wrong or what on your opinion. You're going to find enough people to agree with you to make you think you're right.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I mean, and that's the thing. Like, bodybuilding is still a small percentage of the world. It's less than 1% of the world. So if you got a bunch of people that's following you that's not into the sport, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, they're gonna look at you like you're a fucking fitness guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're gonna look at you like, oh man, this dude's the man. But that within itself creates an illusion a lot of times. And when you literally step on, it's like CT Fletcher said, you the biggest motherfucker in your living room. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hey, so it's like when that starts to create that delusion, and you really step on stage with people that's really doing this shit, then it's going to create a bitterness. You know what I'm saying? Like, people try to blame the judges, all types of shit like that. But man, like, come on, man, you gotta. It's not that. You just gotta stop paying so much attention to these people on social media that's telling you, oh, you got it, you the man. Like, dude, these people don't know what the fuck bodybuilding even is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I think hearing too much of that will get you to a point to where you're like, well, all these people say I'm pretty good to go, so I'm just gonna coast in when really they need to keep grinding.
Yeah. Like, I got buddies in, like they'll tell me, oh, such and such in the gym said, I look great, I look amazing. Like, yeah, but this person has never done bodybuilding a day in their life. Like, to them, you look great. You're a guy walking around, you're probably one of the biggest guys at the gym. Yeah, you look great to them. But like, dude, at the end of the day, why does it matter what they think?
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I love compliments. I'll take a compliment any day. But when I'm getting ready for a show, when I'm priming for a show, like, it does not matter what anybody feels about my body or my physique, except for my coach, the guy that's guiding me through this. That's it, And I mean, with social media, it's been a lot of just, everybody has an opinion. Like, everybody throws their opinion in and out, when 99% of these opinions have no type of knowledge or expertise on the fucking sport anyway.
Oh, you're right. You're absolutely right. And, I remember a guy, I can't remember who it was, many years ago when I first started trying to bodybuild, and I didn't know shit. I would go up and get my ass beat, and I'd be like, what happened? When now I look back, I'm like, I know exactly what fucking happened. I didn't do my shit. But I'd be in the gym, and, the guy told me, he's like, listen, you look good in them gym mirrors, but gym shape's not stage shape. Like, you'll be in here, the lighting. So I think some of those mirrors are made wavy to make you look bigger. When you get on stage, it's completely different. So if you look good in your tank top, that don't mean shit when you dress down and get painted and get on stage. So don't be fooled by what people are telling you in here.
I personally, I don't, and that's why I like Iron Hawaiian so much. One of the reasons why I like Iron Hawaiian so much is that there aren't a lot of mirrors around there.
No, it's
You
not.
know, like, there are a lot of mirrors. You know, I mean, it's just hardcore. You come in, you grinding, and you're putting your work in. It's a hardcore atmosphere where people are there to train and work and not admire themselves in the mirror. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm real big on that, man. Like I personally, right now, I know for a fact I have to grow. So what I do is when I go train, I put my hoodie on, I put my headphones on, and I'm there to train. I'm there to grow. Like that's it. It's just with social media, man. It's just a lot of. I call them ignorant experts. There's a lot of ignorant experts. That's what I call them. I call them ignorant experts because it's like everybody has an opinion, but when you boil down to it, nobody knows shit. When it really boils down to it, man.
Yeah.
It's just how it is.
And see, the thing about Iron Wine is that we don't have a lot of mirrors, but if you want to do picture stuff, we have a place for that. We have this posing stage.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like take it over there. Yeah, you take it, you go over there and do it. But when you're in the gym for training, you're there to train. You're not there to take off your shirt and pose and stuff while everybody's trying to work out.
Right, absolutely. I mean, there's a whole state. You know what I mean? Like there's places to do it that if you want to, you know, pose and do all that, you can do it there. I mean, if you're in there on that gym floor, you're training.
Yeah. I honestly got to where I prefer squatting without a mirror because I'm not looking at the mirror and I'm not coming forward. If I look up, because I'm trying to feel for it instead of look for the form, I squat a lot better. So I'm glad there's no mirrors on the walls in there. That's a lot better.
Deadlift too. I mean, you know, I'm sure I love the deadlift. So it's like when I'm deadlifting, I don't want mirrors. I don't want nothing in there like that. I just want to get my weight and I want to pull it. That's it.
Yeah, I think if people go by how it feels rather than how you're looking, I think their form would be better because there's a certain feel. There's a way you can tell how things are lined up. And if, for instance, if your head is forward, your body follows your head. So if you're looking down, you're going to start arching your back and folding forward. So, but there's a mirror in front. When you're squatting, people want to look in that mirror. I'm like, dude, look up. So I'm glad there's no mirrors in the squat racks and shit because I don't have that problem anymore.
Yep. You're tilted. Yep. There you go.
Now, when you were doing your preps, especially, I know I remember when I heard you were training the humidity down there getting ready for this. I was like, dude, that guy's fucking nuts. When you would go through that, because you were like doing like hitting shit outside, weren't you? Over that heat and humidity. God damn, that's insane.
I was doing HIIT. I was doing weightlifting, all that outside. Like 90% of my prep was outside.
Yeah, like, and it's humid as shit down there. I've been down in that area, dude. It's nasty.
Oh, dude, it's uncomfortably like it literally. We just had a cold front come last night, but before the cold front came, now mind you, it's October. It was still in the 90s here.
God. So what? Yeah. What was the mentally? What was the biggest obstacle that you faced, and then how did you overcome that? Like, what was there any points where you kind of get second quick question? I mean, I know people can stay pretty laser focused, but there has to be a time when you're just like, dude, what the fuck? Or you start, something gets in your head, you have to get out of it. Like, what was the biggest one for you?
Dude, my thing this last prep, actually, I think my biggest obstacle was the whole, okay, so with COVID, right? I actually wasn't supposed to do Universe. I wasn't. I was supposed to do the show the week before Universe. I was supposed to do the Puerto Rico Championships. And I was, you know, they have a pro qualifier there, but you just got to win overall. Me and my coach are pretty confident that we can win overall in at least one of the categories.
Yeah.
So my biggest problem was just the whole COVID restrictions and trying to see like, okay, how can I get over here? Okay, what are they going to do next? Then I had my passport problems. Like that was my biggest obstacle, man. Like the actual physical part of prep, it was cool. I was cool with it. You know, I mean, I have this tick with me to where like I can literally block out every fucking thing and just go laser focused on an obstacle. If I can control it, my thing is if I can control it, I'm good on it. You know, but I tend to sometimes stress over things that I can't control.
Yeah.
So with that being said, like me and my coach was like, I think at like the 2-3 week mark, we were like, okay, fuck this. We're not gonna do this show. We're just gonna go do Universe. He's like, it's a bigger show. I mean, you're probably gonna have a lot more competition, but I'm comfortable that no matter what show you do, you're gonna do well. I was like, all right, cool. So after that, I was laser focused on Universe, and we did it, and we came out. But I think that was the biggest problem for me was the passport issues I was having. Just the whole COVID thing, because I didn't know that they were going to have it in the Bahamas instead of Puerto Rico. You know, so they had it in the Bahamas because, you know, the whole COVID thing. And so I had to figure out some passport issues. And I mean, I couldn't get it figured out in time. So I was like, all right, fuck it. We're just going to do Universe. So that was really my biggest obstacle this prep was that.
I guess that could have distracted you so much that nothing else could have really gotten in your head, to be honest. That might have been a blessing in disguise. So like, overly emotional shit bothered you because you were worried about the passport and COVID and stuff. That probably occupied you enough to where it helped you out. With since you coach other people and you train other people, when you get a new person, what initially do you train a lot of people that are just starting or no?
Yeah, I would say probably half and half.
Okay, yeah, so with people just starting, what's the biggest obstacle you see with them? And then experienced people you train, patience. What do you think is
patience?
That's a good point.
Patience. People that's just starting, they, you know, like I said, social media. People that are just starting, you know, they follow all these fitness influencers. You know, obviously they follow bodybuilders. They follow these guys, and they have it in their mind that, oh, I'm gonna do 3 months of this, and I'll be close to that. You know, and I tell guys, man, all the time, like, dude, I've been doing this shit since the spring of 2009. Like, I've literally been training every day, consistently dieting since the spring of 2009. That's 12 years. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I'm nowhere near where I want to be. You know what I'm saying? You know, and I've done this shit on an expertise level, you know, to a point of where I've gotten bulky as shit. I've gotten to 3% body fat. Like, I've been on both sides of the spectrum. I tell guys all the time, like, you have to have a patience. There has to be a certain level of patience to this. You have to be patient. You have to want to put in the time. You have to want to go through the journey. You know what I'm saying? Like, the journey is where it's at. You know, if every day you're getting up and you're like, oh man, I don't look like let's say Big Rammy. I don't look like Big Rammy yet. Well, yeah, motherfucker, you're not gonna look like him no time soon. Yeah. You just got to put in the work. You know what I'm saying? Like, people nowadays tend to want to shy away from the work and want to just get to the end result. You know, and that's just not the way shit works in anything. You know, that's not the way it works with money. That's not the way it works with relationships, partnerships, bodybuilding, anything in life. Like, you really have to understand that there's a journey, and the journey is long. So you have to just put in the work, apply the time, apply the effort, and eventually you'll get there. But people just don't want to fucking do the journey. You know, I've had people come in, man, and within 3 weeks, they're frustrated. I'm like, dude, you haven't even been in this shit a month yet. What do you want? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what? I mean, I'm a trainer. I'm not a magician. You know, so it's like, and a lot of times I tell guys, I have guys that come to me, you know, extremely out of shape. And I tell them, look, listen, it took you a very long time to get this out of shape, right? It probably took you years to get to this point. So don't come to me expecting me to fix this shit in a month, because it's not going to happen. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it took you years to get this out of shape, then expect it to take at least, 6-9 months, a year for you to get in remotely good shape.
Yeah. And I think because of the way people are molded through social media and stuff, what they don't realize is if this were so easy to do, I don't think as many people would want it, because when you look at it, it's just you're changing how you look. But then you look at what it takes to get there, and it's a very hard thing to achieve. And so that makes it valuable. It's like not everybody can have a Rolls Royce. Not everybody can have a Bugatti. Oh, exactly. So the ones that have it, it's there's value to it. That's why it costs so much. They're hard to get. So if this was a goal that was so easy to get, I don't think a lot of people would want it because there'd be no value in it. But they can't make that connection. They think, well, I can have this in a month. Like, if you could have this in a month, we'd all be fat because we could get in shape with a drop of a hat whenever we wanted to.
Yeah, exactly. There's literally, and I tell guys all the time, like, you can't, there's a level, to everything in life. I have guys like, and I look at, like I said, I see so much shit, with social media and everything. Like, I'll have guys come to me, man, Dre, I'm trying to get abs like you. And then you see them on the weekend, Friday night, they taking shot after shot in the club. You know what I'm saying? Bottle of champagne, 20 hot wings, like, man, like you have to apply a certain, if anything you want in life. And this is crazy because, you know, I feel like we in fitness, we have to explain this more than anybody else, but it should be obvious. There has to be a certain level of discipline if you want anything in life. Like you just said, if you want a Rolls Royce, you have to have Rolls Royce discipline. You have to have Rolls Royce work ethic. You know what I'm saying? Like there has to be a certain point to where you have to laser focus in and say, okay, I want this. So if I want fucking washboard abs, then I have to do this for this amount of time to get washboard fucking abs. And if I'm not willing to do this to get washboard abs, then I should stop fucking saying I want washboard abs.
Yeah.
Right. You know? And it's just that's just how it is, man. Like you can't, and I feel like it should be obvious, you know, because there's other avenues in life where people know this. You know, people understand that if I want to be a millionaire, I have to apply this certain work ethic to be a millionaire. But in fitness, for some reason, people look at us and they're like, oh, well, I can just half-ass it and look like that. No, you can't.
No. There's a token few people that maybe have had the Rolls Royce given to them, or maybe were born with good genetics, but at the same time, it's like, still, number one, they're not going to value it as much. So there's a good chance that they're going to lose it, or they'll wreck the car, or they'll get out of shape and they won't know how to get it back. And there's a lot of good instances where people with bad genetics have outworked people with good genetics.
Yes.
So the work still has to be there at a certain point. So if there's somebody, he's always looked like that. Well, he doesn't know how to get there though. So if he ever falls out of shape, he's going to have to get somebody like us to get him back there, because he's lost it and he doesn't know how to get it.
And I have that a lot of times, you know. I'll see, especially like I'll see with younger guys, younger women, to where when they were 21, 22 years old, you know, the metabolism was there. You know, they didn't have to work as hard to be lean and be shredded, you know. But as you get older, that metabolism disappears slowly, but it disappears. And for guys, as you get older, that testosterone starts to deteriorate, you know. So you have to understand that at some point, the work has to come in. Yeah. You know, and I tell guys, like right now, I work with a lot of guys that's in their 20s, you know, and they don't really value the habits of training, the habits of actually dieting. And I tell guys, like, this is where you establish these lifelong habits. You know, this is where, because right now you're in your 20s, late 20s, early 30s, you may not have kids, you may not have a family, but at some point, you're most likely you're going to get kids, you're going to get a family, and you're not going to have as much time to establish these habits. So right now, while you don't have these responsibilities, it's time for you to establish these habits. That way, when you do get a kid, when you do get a family, a wife, you already have these habits established. So you're going to make time to do the shit. No matter how busy you are, you're going to always make time to do the shit because you established these habits 10 years ago.
That's a very good point. I think that's why kids should get more into either sports or some type of extra after school activities, because it teaches them those principles.
Yes, absolutely. It teaches, and I mean, it's crazy, man, because I know when I was a kid, like that was established, you know, like, yeah, you're going to do something outside of school. You're going to get into something because you need to establish these principles, this work ethic, this discipline. You need to get into something like, but nowadays, man, like, I think the problem nowadays is that just being unhealthy has become fucking normalized for some reason. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like, that's a good point, man.
Yeah, and I mean, I tell people all the time, like, look, I'm not telling you, and I feel like sometimes I come off, when I say this, you know, as a pro bodybuilder, I come off as being an asshole, right? You know, I come off as being this fit asshole jerk that wants everybody just to be in extreme shape. That's not the case. You know, I don't want everybody to be just a bodybuilder or extreme shape, but there's a certain level of health that comes into play. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like there's been this push that everybody wants acceptance, right? Even the people that walk around, they fucking 400 pounds and they'll tell you, oh, well, I got to be comfortable. Well, no, that's not comfortable. You're unhealthy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, you have to get in shape. You have to get healthy, not only for you, but your loved ones. Like, I'm sure there are people that love you. I'm sure there are people that want you to live, you know what I'm saying, and be healthy and be happy. But everything now is so fucking normalized, man. Like, I feel like me, a lot of times I feel like being the fit guy is just being the whole just far-fetched. Like it's you're frowned upon for being fit.
Yeah, I think the only people who didn't do anything after school when I was in school was either people had to go home and work. Because I'm from like middle of nowhere country, dude. Like they probably all white, middle of nowhere. So I mean, you would either go home to do chores and work on the farm or something, or you did something. You didn't just go back home. It was kind of weird. And now it seems like it's almost the opposite.
It is. Like, you got kids now, man, like, they'll go home and immediately just pop on a fucking video game, you know?
Yeah.
Like, seriously. Or, you know, the iPad or something. Like, dude, like, I mean, I don't, it's just like physical activity has become just far-fetched to people. Like, oh, you exercise, you work out. Like, oh my God. Like, dude, come on, man. Like, at some point, you have to initiate this shit in your life, or you're going to become extremely out of shape. You're going to become extremely unhealthy, extremely sick. But I mean, even now, I mean, I don't know your feelings toward the whole COVID thing, but even now, like, you got a whole government telling people that they can take a shot and be healthy. So that's
yeah. I could go on a rant about that, but yeah, and everybody's just since they're already conditioned in that, they go with it. It's like, you guys have no knowledge about human immunity or health or none of this shit, or else you would be going out and doing that.
Like, I mean, when you have a government during a fucking pandemic that shuts down gyms, like, you can't walk into a gym in a pandemic that's supposed to threaten your health. You can't go to a place that's there to get you healthy. You know what I'm saying? But on the flip side of things, you can go to McDonald's and buy a fucking Big Mac.
Yeah. We were sanitizing before sanitizing was a fucking thing.
Yeah, right, exactly. We were also taking vitamins before taking vitamins was a thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, we were taking vitamins. We were doing the things that established you. I mean, I probably get sick maybe once every 2 years. You know, thank God. But the reason being for that is because I put in the time, I put in the things into my body that keeps my immune system rolling. You know, like, now I have arguments. Well, I wouldn't say arguments, but I have debates weekly with people on social media that's telling me, oh, it doesn't matter that you're healthy. You can still die from COVID. Well, I mean, fuck, dude, come on. You know what I'm saying?
It doesn't mean you shouldn't try, though. I mean, there's a good chance that you won't if you go. You're talking about maybe a random, there may be one freak case here and there, but you're using that one freak case to justify sitting on your ass for the rest of your life.
Right, precisely. I mean, dude, I tell people all the time, man, we live in a fucking matrix, man. Like,
yeah.
I mean, truthfully told, dude, like, common sense, literally, I feel like there is a majority push to make common sense illegal. Like, it's crazy. It baffles me. Like, I have these debates with people, and I feel like this shit should be common sense. Like, this shit should be common knowledge. Like, if you do things that's going to support your health, your chances of being healthy increases, right? Like, that's common knowledge, but it's just not so fucking common anymore. Like, it's just like, it baffles me, dude. Like, it used to give me a headache. Like, I literally would sit and talk to these people, and it would give me a fucking headache. I'm like, dude, it's no, like, what's wrong with you? But but now, you know, it's just like, okay, if you feel that way, feel that way. I can't change your opinion. You can't change my opinion. We're just going to agree to disagree.
One of the first things I noticed when I started doing this job around 10 years ago was that there is a ton of preventive measures, probably called preventive medicine and diet and training. You go to a doctor, they're like a Band-Aid, like, oh, there's something wrong, just take this, it'll fix it. You come to us, and instead of giving you blood pressure medication or cholesterol, we're like, okay, well, this is happening because this. So if we put in these omega fats and we control this intake, then we can actually fix this permanently. We can find why it's going like this, and we can fix this permanently to where you won't have to take medication. My first client was one of my first ones. He had he had cholesterol and blood pressure, and we fixed his intake of like omega-3 and 6. We fixed his diet. Within a month or two, this doctor said, you don't need the meds anymore. And I said, dude, you see this? This is, I'm not saying it's a staple case for every person. I'm talking about one specific incident, but it shows that when you start doing this type of stuff, and I don't mean competing, I mean just going to the gym and eating right and exercising, it can fix a lot of problems that you're taking synthetic man-made medication to fix.
Yes. Absolutely.
Even depression stuff, the endorphin releases and stuff. People are having to take medication for that shit when they could get it by going to the gym and moving around a little bit.
And man, that's crazy that you bring that up, because that I can honestly say, like, dude, before, me personally, a lot of times when I train, it's more mental than physical.
Yeah.
I literally I'll some bullshit will go down and I'm in a shitty mood. I'm like, okay, let me go lift, and after my session, I feel 100 times better. I feel like a new man. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? No, of course, the training didn't solve the problem, but it helped me to clear my mind. It helped me to not sink into a dark level of depression or anger,
Because that shit, it multiplies. If you let that get to you and you start sinking down, like, it just multiplies, like the amount of bad shit that starts happening.
Absolutely.
I've said this past 2 days. I've told somebody this. Look at people that always think negative and always play victim. There is constantly bad shit that happens to them all the time.
All the time, right?
So exercising something. You have to do something to put you in more positive aspects. So that stuff starts turning around.
Right. Absolutely. It's just it killed, like, and I say this all the time, man. The people that sell the remedy usually are the ones behind the fucking sickness. You know what I'm saying?
I'll agree with you on that, man. I really will agree with you. That makes a big point.
I'm a big, I feel that way, and I just think that at the end of the day, it's about life habits. You establish these life habits to a point to where, certain things don't really get to you. They don't really get in your circle. Dude, like, during the whole, and that's what I was telling I just say to my family, my friends all the time. And back when COVID hit, they were saying, oh, you're supposed to take some vitamin D and take vitamin C and take this and take that. I'm like, dude, you're supposed to do this shit anyway.
Yeah.
Not like, this chick I know, she was like, oh, well, I've been going out and getting my daily sunlight because the Dr. Fauci said it helps prevent COVID. I'm like, you're supposed to go outside. What the fuck?
There's specific vitamins you get from simply being outside.
Yes, dude. It's like me being just in fitness, a fitness professional. It baffles me. Just I'm having to reiterate. Okay, you're supposed to do this shit anyway. This is basic health. Like, this is not something that's going to help you fight off some boogeyman virus. Like, this is basic health.
Yeah. Your kids are supposed to get dirty. You're supposed to be around people. You're not supposed to breathe it. There's all kinds of stuff they're telling us. We're like, dude, like 10 years ago, they'd be telling us the exact opposite. Because it's all the immune system. Like, I was talking to a guy who was a doctor. He says, I let my kids get dirty as shit. How in the hell are they supposed to have an immune system when they get older?
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
And when you're over sanitizing everything, you're not exposed to stuff, so you're not building an immunity to anything that's out there. You're becoming like this very clean, sanitized thing. So the littlest thing hits you and you go down.
It's like the story. I can't think of when I was a kid, the story of the guy in the bubble. The guy that fucking lived in the bubble and
yeah.
Right. That's what it is, man. Like, it's crazy that shit that's being promoted now. Like you said, 10 years ago, it's shit that we would laugh at. Like, what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right. It's shit that we would laugh at as humor, like, okay, that's stupid, but now it's literally being promoted as shit that you should do. And it's just like, dude, come on, man. Like, I don't know. It's a shake my head moment. That's really all I could do. Because when the shit first started, I used to get so angry about it, but now I just shake my head.
Yeah. I want to ask you one more thing before we go. What is, when you train people that are experienced or people that come from another coach, what is the one thing you notice that you have to fix, or biggest problem that you have with them?
Patterns and habits.
Absolutely.
Like, people that come from other coaches, they already have this mindset of how it should go. And I just had a guy, I'm not gonna call his name. I just had a guy. He eventually left because he couldn't get out of the mind frame of what his old coach used to do. Well, he used to do it this way. Like, why can't we do it this way? And in my head, I'm like, dude, if you were satisfied, or if you were getting the results that you got this way, then you wouldn't have came over here. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was something over there that made you dissatisfied or that had you to a point to where, okay, I'm tired of this shit. I need to change. So you came over here. So now that you're over here and I'm showing you how to do it my way, then you can't retract. You can't regress and want to do it this way. And that's the biggest problem I have, man. And people a lot of times, I've noticed this just in humans in general. Humans are creatures of habit.
Yes.
We're creatures of pattern. So that's the hardest thing, is breaking these people from these habits and these patterns that they already have, especially when they've been doing them for a while. Because some people, they stay with coaches for a year, 2 years, So it's like when you've been doing it this way for so long, it's just kind of hard for certain people to break out of that habit.
Yeah. One of the lines I use a lot when I come into this incidents, because I tell them, it's like, hey man, you came to me. So obviously I'm doing something right. So you need to listen and figure out what it is. Like, don't, or if they'll say, well, my old coach said, well, like you said, like, well, obviously it didn't work, man. I didn't come hunt you down. You came to me.
You came to me. Right. Exactly. And that right. It frustrates me, man, to where I have to reiterate that, especially, with guys that compete. It's like, all right, well, if you were getting the results that you wanted over there, you would not have left. You would have stayed there. Like, if me personally, like, I'm satisfied with my coach. I'm not going anywhere. Like, you couldn't pull me away from it because I'm satisfied. So if you're not sad, and I've left coaches before because, different things that causes me to leave, I'm not satisfied with results. I don't think his program fits me, whatever. But there's something that causes you to go to the other side. So if you're on this side, then listen to me, value what I'm saying, and don't fucking pull back every time I give you something to do.
Yeah. You have to go in there with a clean slate and with the new, the basics, but if somebody's been to a coach, they've done a few contests, I would expect them to listen more. But at the same time, I expect them to come over with a clean slate, like ready to learn, like not ready to question, just be like, okay, I'm going to approach this like I did the first time I ever had a coach. I'm going to do everything. And, and if it doesn't work out, then we'll troubleshoot. Sometimes when I've worked with other trainers, they come to me with that mental, but when stuff starts getting snacked, and me and him will troubleshoot and we'll figure it out. Like, that's different. Like, but when you come to me and you're like, hey, do it this guy, like, no, fuck no, dude. I know, you need to come in here ready to learn, because not every coach does. And there could be, he could have done this because his program requires that. So it's a puzzle. And so if I take that aspect to put it into my puzzle, it's not going to work. Like, see, people, they don't know how all this works. Like, a program involves multiple different items, and those items all have to be there. So if they want me to change, like, you look at other coaches' programs, well, they did this different. Yeah, because they're doing all this other stuff and it fits, but it doesn't fit the way I do it. There's 100 ways to do this stuff. So when you go into the new coach, you need to take it all in and at least get through it before you start criticizing.
There you go. That's it. So. And I mean, even, like I said, my first coach, I stayed with him for, I would say almost a year. And, I can honestly say, like, every prep isn't the same.
No,
all preps are different. So it's like, I hate when people come in and they're like, oh, well, I didn't do prep like this last time. Well, dude, even if you would have stayed with your coach, you wouldn't have did the same shit you did last prep. You know what I'm saying? Especially if it didn't get you an overall or if it didn't get you a pro card. Like, no preps are the same, dude, because your body is constantly changing. You're constantly going under changes. You're adding muscle. You're burning fat. Like, it's never the same. So it's just like getting people to break that habit and that pattern in their head, dude. It's a fucking struggle, man. Like, it's a struggle. Sometimes it never works. And like, even with bodybuilding is an ego-driven sport. Whether you like it or not, it's an ego-driven sport. And a lot of these guys, they have egos to a point to where they can't break the habits that they have because they feel like, okay, this is what I need to do. This is going to get me over. And if your ego is to that point, then you should never even come to a fucking coach.
Yeah.
Like, you should never go to a coach. Like, I mean, you have to just leave your ego and arrogance at the door. Like, literally.
Yeah. It's same when you go into the gym too. I see people bring their ego in there and it gets the best of them. You have to be humble. You have to be able to listen and at least do it before you start criticizing. It's just, I think I have had people that can't, or they have a hard time listening. It's like, they want to do it, but it's just something about them where they think they're losing or they're weak because they're listening. Like, no, dude, some of the smartest CEOs and strongest people in the world had people that advised them all the time. And they had the best advisors, and that's how they made it, was because the stuff they didn't know, they had the best knowledge person that did know that next to them, and they listened to that guy.
Dude, it's teamwork, man. Exactly. And it's crazy that, like I said, in bodybuilding and fitness, we have to explain certain shit that in other avenues or in other areas of life, it's obvious. Like, it's obvious that for me, if I want to get to a certain point, I can't do this shit myself.
Yeah.
I can't. I need a team around me. I need a team of people around me that's going to push me, that's going to give me a higher level of expertise, a higher level of knowledge. Like, I can't do this shit myself, but whenever people come into bodybuilding, for some reason, they have this mentality that, oh, I got it. I can do it myself. Like, no, you don't.
That's a good point. That's a good point, man. I think when people do come into this sport, they downplay it in their head and they don't treat it, even though something they want, they don't treat it the same as becoming a millionaire or getting that car or owning a business. And it's like, you got to treat it the same way. Anything you want to be the best at, you have to treat like that.
Yes.
Michael Jordan had a coach. Michael Jordan had a coach for this whole time. Like Grover, Tim Grover was his coach. You're like, Jordan had a coach? Like, hell yeah, he had a coach.
Yeah.
And that's how these guys work.
Yeah, absolutely. Dude, it's crazy. Like, I mean, you have to leave the ego at the door. You just have to understand it takes a team. And like, literally, if you see the best physiques on the planet, like Olympia was just last weekend, the best physiques on the fucking planet, these guys have a team around them that are advising them, that are giving them tips and expertise. And, just every single day, a lot of these guys even go to camps. They are in camp where they're developing this physique with guys around them that are helping them day by day get to this certain level.
Look at the Camel Crew. They have a whole team of people for those athletes down there. And, Brandon Curry is very gifted in some aspects that he has. And I've seen him before and after Kuwait. And when you see how much bigger he got after, like I seen him in person both times. And I was like, that's the difference with somebody that people thought was going to be the new streamlined bodybuilding look, that they thought he was already chiseled out for it. And now you see him with a team of people and you're like, what the fuck, man? The amount of difference he made. Yeah. So it shows like even the best people can do better with a team. And those guys down there in Kuwait, they don't fuck around.
No,
they take great athletes and push them to a level. Like when Rolly went down there, everybody thought Rolly was a freak. When he went to Kuwait, you're like, holy shit, he had no idea he could get up to that point.
Yeah, you're breaking past plateaus. You're breaking past you're pushing towards higher levels, and you need a team, the right team around you for that. Now, and you don't need hanger-ons or yes mans. You need people around you, honest, and that's going to give you this expertise to where they can push you to the next level. Yeah. A lot of times, like, I say this to a lot of guys that's even trying to get to the professional level. I tell this to people like, look, you can't fucking train with everybody. Like, you can't train with everybody. Like, if you're training with people constantly and you're always the biggest motherfucker in the group, you're always the strongest motherfucker in the group, then you need new training buddies. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't train with everybody, man. I see guys, that's even trying to get their pro card. Like, they'll go train with their girlfriend that's not even competing, that's just, trying to get in shape. That's cool. That's fine. Don't get me wrong. It's romantic as shit. But dude, you're in prep. You're trying to get to another level. You need to find you somebody that's going to fucking push you.
Yeah. Somebody's going to get in your face. And like, when you're too tired, they're going to call you a pussy until you get back down there and get the shit done. That's what you need.
Exactly. Like, man, you need to be uncomfortable. Like that is the level of growth. And that's in anything. But I think the thing with bodybuilding is a lot of times the uncomfort level is a physical uncomfort level. And people just tend to not like to be physically uncomfortable for an extended period of time.
Yeah, they don't. We talked about this in the last interview I did, where it's like you have to deal with everyday life on top of the prep, and the uncomfortable is just adding on top of it. It weighs down on a lot of people, and you're like, this is what's going to make or break you right here, man. So if you can't handle this, you need to hang it the fuck up. This is getting tested. It's like, these pros, that's all they have to worry about. But when they first started, it wasn't like that. They all worked regular jobs. They all did this shit, and they had to deal with this stuff just like you did. That's why they're pros now, because they got through it.
There's levels. Like these pros, like people look at these pros all the time. Like people got them saying, like, man, these pros, there's levels. Like when they started, they were doing the same shit. Like they broke past those levels. They pushed past those levels. And now, you know, they've become the 1% of the sport to where all they have to worry about is fucking building their bodies, and they're eating off this shit, you know?
And how many Olympias did Ronnie win before he finally retired as a cop? He was a cop for like 4 or 5 of those wins.
Yeah.
Full-time cop.
Yeah, exactly.
On top of touring Europe, like, because they do the Grand Prix tour, that's like 12 shows back to back they would do in the 90s, and they would tour. These guys worked all the time.
Yeah. You know, yeah, exactly. I mean, everybody, and it's a sport, man. Everybody has their struggles, you know, outside of the sport. You know, that's what I tell people all the time. Everybody, if you're in this sport, you got your struggles, you got the shit going on outside, but it's up to you, you know, to just tunnel vision, man. You got to have that tunnel vision.
I think one problem some people have is they get into the sport and they don't have their life outside the gym together. So it comes in like they want to compete or they want to get in shape, but then you always hear like girl problems or like divorces and stuff. And you're like,
oh yeah.
You know, that stuff's going to happen. But if it's really that big of a deal, you need to go unfuck that shit and then come back when your workload's lighter.
For me, I tell people this, man, like I'm a type of person. If I want a goal, like right now, dude, I'm isolated as shit. Like I'm isolated because I'm focused. Like I'm focused on a goal at hand. Like I'm trying to get to Olympia next year. So like even now, unless you're a close friend of mine or, you know, an associate or you're in my immediate circle, chances of you getting in and it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You stay so busy, it's hard. You stay so busy, it's hard to have anybody in there.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, a lot of people do like, just truth be told, there are a lot of people that take away from your focus.
Yeah.
You know, especially when, like I said, bodybuilding is a small fucking community. It's a small community. So there's a lot of people that don't understand what we do, how we do it. There are going to be a lot of people that, hey man, let's go out to eat or let's do this, let's do that. Like, nah, man, I can't fucking do it. You know? So it's like, so in order for me personally to keep from having to constantly explain that shit to people, I'm just extremely isolated. But a lot of times the people that know me, they know that, okay, this is how Dre getting down. Like Dre not doing this, Dre not fucking with this. So they respect it, you know, but anybody that may come in as new, I'm like, nah, man, like I'm good. You know, I have a focus. And like I said, dude, I haven't been to a club, man, it's probably been 5 or 6 years. Like, you know what I'm saying? I've been that focused, like don't drink, no shit. Like I don't have female problems. You know what I'm saying? I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I date, you know, but as far as just having females that bring me stress or, you know what I'm saying? Bullshit like that. Nah, baby, you got to go.
You know, the thing is, when you get to that point and you get to that Olympia stage and you do well, those guys that didn't understand then, some of them will be like, you know, I got to respect that guy. He cut out a lot of bullshit even when we were trying to get him to go out. Now look where he's at. And there's going to be a little bit of envy there. But it's going to be positive envy. They're going to be like, man, you know, now I see why he did all that because look where he's at.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
people, that's goal. There's an end goal, man. Like, and I feel like that's the thing, you know, people got to focus on just the end goal. And there is a lot of shit that if you let it in your circle, it will literally take away from the end goal.
Yeah.
You know, and that's in anything, you know, but again, like we've been reiterating this whole conversation, sometimes you just have to, you got to really refocus on that with bodybuilding because motherfuckers, they feel like bodybuilding is just so different. Like I could treat bodybuilding differently than I do my relationship or my business or my job or whatever is in your life that you value. Feel like you can treat different. It's no fucking different. It's the same thing.
Well, Dre, I really appreciate you coming on and talk with us, man. I had a lot of good things to say. And I know you're going for the Olympia, so hopefully we'll get to see you over there. I'm going to put all your contact information up if you want for training and stuff. But if there's anything you want to tell everybody or where to go to, whatever, go ahead. Or anything else you want to leave people with.
You can follow me on my Instagram at Nukeface of Fitness. Facebook, D'Andre Booker. My actual name is D'Andre. I just go by Dre. D'Andre Booker. Yeah, so just, you know, you can follow me there. I'm starting up a YouTube soon. I just haven't been able to find a videographer that I really just want to fuck with. But once I find a good videographer, you know, I'm starting on my YouTube. So yeah, I mean, yeah. So just follow me there, interact with me. I talk a lot. I talk a lot of shit. So just it'll be, you know, follow me, get entertained, get informed. It'd be fun.
All right, Dre, thanks for talking with us, man. I'll catch you later. Good luck going and getting ready for the Olympia.
Yes, sir, brother. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right.